first, let's begin by casting to a different type of election, one that's been taking place in the British capital, London. It's a political process that's happening in the governing Conservative Party, which is choosing a new leader who will automatically become the new UK Prime Minister. Through a process of elimination, candidates are being whittled down to just two by a series of voting rounds in which the last placed contestant is knocked out. And with just two left, they'll face the formidable Conservative membership in September. Well, let's go to London now and speak to Arise Chief Correspondent John Cookson. Good to see you, Cookie. I hope everything's fine. What's the latest, John?
Hey, Charles, good to see you. Great to be on prime time. Well, the voting is getting very exciting now, is it not? The top three today was Sunak with 101 votes. He's the former Chancellor, of course. Penny Mordaunt's on 83 and Liz Truss on 64. So still Sunak way out in front at the moment. And you just mentioned there, Sunak is the favourite with parliamentarians. That's Conservative Party MPs in London, but at the day's end, the people who will be actually voting for the two with the golden ticket and eventually one winner will emerge will be the party itself, the Conservative Party, and they may give a very different verdict. And in that sense, the money's on Penny Mordaunt, former Defence Secretary, not too well known, generally speaking, in the UK, but a firm favourite with the party faithful and the Conservative Party. And they, as I say, will have the final say. A quick shout to Kemi Bodanek. I mean, she's done incredibly well. Born in Wimbledon, but of Nigerian parents. She got 49 votes today. And, a fresh face on the scene. And a sort of breath of fresh air, really, and she's doing really well. She's not going to win, of course, but she's surely destined for greater things in the next cabinet that's formed after the Johnson government folds later. She was born in Wimbledon, grew up first 16 years of her life in Lagos. Her grandfather was a Methodist minister. She studied computers, and her husband dabbles in local politics at all. She's a mum of three. She's got two daughters and a son, and she's doing fantastically well. And there'll be another vote on Monday. We'll have to see how well she does. As I say, she's not going to win the race, but she's doing supremely well at the moment. Charles.
So, John, what are the things that are used to assess and judge their capacity to be a Conservative Party leader and obviously subsequently Prime Minister? I mean, is it their likability within the party, their voting record in Parliament, their popularity among the British public?
I think certainly MPs are looking for experience, and they've got that with Liz Truss, the Foreign Secretary, who launched her campaign today. She's a former environment minister, former justice minister, former first secretary of the Treasury, international trade secretary. I mean, she's got bags of experience in government. She first became an MP in 2010. But you hit on a very important point there. She lacks the likability factor. She gave a very polished performance today when she launched her campaign, and no one can, to connect with ordinary voters, and you look at her and say, is she going to produce a general election win? And my sense of party faithful, they'll say no. And Rishi Sunak, for the same reason, one has to question whether the party faithful will go for Sunak because of his experience, huge experience as Chancellor of the Exchequer, and just what the country needs at the moment. But he's seen as someone who, by some who stabbed Boris Johnson in the back last week and caused the collapse of the Johnson regime. So a lot of factors in play. And Charles, there'll be TV debates starting tomorrow, first of all on Channel 4. and then on ITV on Sunday, and then finally on Sky News on Monday. And we'll see much more of these candidates and how they get on under the pressure of interrogation from journalists in a studio. I think that will be a very, very telling time.
And John, how much, I mean, I know they're obviously campaigning, you know, I've heard them making pledges on everything from taxes to immigration and healthcare and all the rest of it. But how much will Britain's departure from the EU, known as Brexit, play a role in deciding who the new Prime Minister will be?
I think if you'd asked me that a year ago or 2 years ago, I would have said it would play a huge role. But, you know, Brexit is like a train that's disappearing off down the track somewhere into the distance. And although Penny Mordaunt, for example, was a Remainer, but now a firm Brexiteer, and Liz Truss, a Brexiteer, I'm not so sure that the background of Brexit has a massive impact. I think the Tory party faithful will want to see Brexit completed. There's a sense here that although the UK has left the European Union, there's a lot of unfinished business. So perhaps they are looking for someone who can actually finish it off. But in terms of real significance, I'm not sure how important that is, Charles. I tell you what British people are worried about, and that's the cost of living. And they're looking for a Prime Minister who can help in that regard and try to get the economy under control. And at the moment, it's teetering on recession. So I think that's probably got a priority rather than Brexit this time.
Right. And I mean, I know, as you mentioned, John, this is obviously taking place within the Conservative Party and not sort of a general election voting thing. I mean, is this being seen in the Conservative Party as a battle between the right of the party and the moderates?
Well, I suppose you could say that Truss, for example, is on the right of the party, but and Mordaunt too. I mean, they're all generally to the right of the leading players. Rishi Sunak, Liberal as far as the economy is concerned. So I think these old ideas of right and left, again, are important to a certain degree. But at the heart of all this, the British membership of the Conservative Party is looking for change from the turbulent Johnson years. They're looking for a safe pair of hands, which they certainly have with Sunak. And it's these issues that I think it's driving things rather than right and left of the party.
And just briefly, John, what happens from here on? I mean, after sort of Monday, there'll be cut down to 2. Parliament goes into recess, comes back, and then a final vote takes place. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, there's another vote on Monday, and they need to get down to 2, so there will be votes after that. But we know that the voting will finish by the 21st of July, and then it's down to the 180,000 or so Conservative Party members to vote on one of the 2 that go forward, and the result to be known on September the 5th. So it's a busy time for the local constituencies, and as Westminster goes into recess next week. So that's the shape of things to come. More voting next week, down to the last 2, and then we have this voting period in July, August, and the result during the first week of September.
John, thanks very much indeed. Rise Chief Correspondent John Cookson talking to me there from London.